was your weekend?
Well, I did
lonely and shame-filled.
Well, I guess I don't have to go over my weekend. I think you just said it right there.
Big news from last week, and we got a shout out. Good friend of the show, man of integrity, man of honor,
the best,
and he proved it all over the last week. Yeah. Captain Brian Dooley, Eastern Michigan football stud, an all-around amazing guy, gives up his scholarship to a walk-on.
Yeah.
It honestly, that's what it's all about, man. That's what college football is all about. That's the good stuff. And of course, him, of all people, was the guy to do it. And we knew it. We saw him right from the beginning. Awesome dude. He proved it yet again. Although he's scared to take me on it in Oklahoma, that aside, you got to love Brian Dooley. I hope this is the kind of thing where you see a guy like Brad Holmes or other GMs really take notice, because a lot of guys have the skill. A lot of guys have the size, but it's that extra something. It's the integrity. It's that grit. It's the care for the teammates that really, I think, sees him maybe go on to the next level and hang around for quite some time, because you can't have enough character guys, let alone guys with skill like he has to.
Want to touch base on other news that happened this week with the Big Ten and how it relates to what we talk about and things like that, with Oregon and Washington joining the Big Ten now. That puts the Big Ten not a Big Ten anymore. It's 18. We got Teddy Bridgewater.
Welcome to the Den.
Yep.
TB5.
Now Detroit Lion. We've talked about this before. It'll be great for Hooker to learn from Goff. And real quickly, where does that leave Nate Sudfeld?
In free agency.
Is the national hype of the Lions freaking you guys out a little bit? So this week, we are going into Central Michigan University. Yes.
Fire up.
Chips. So with that, we thought we'd bring in a guest. So our guest tonight, he's a CMU grad who loved Maction so much, he started a podcast with his co-hosts Connor and Benji, where they talk all things Mac. Please welcome from the Great Lakes Gridiron Podcast, welcome to episode 12 of the BDE Sports Talk Podcast. My name is Bill, one of your co-hosts. Along with me, as always, are my brothers and my co-hosts, the D and E of the BDE. Fellas, hope you're feeling as good as you're looking. How's it going?
Thanks, man. Doing good.
I don't know if it's possible to feel as good as I look, baby. Doing good, brother. How are you?
Woo!
Doing good. I was gonna say, when I was thinking about how I would say how it's doing good, I was gonna say I was feeling a little oozy. Tonight. Yeah.
You got a little oozy going?
Then I started trying to figure out what oozy really meant, and I'm like, but you know what? I'm feeling oozy.
Gotta love it.
So before we dive into this week's episode, just want to say, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to Spotify, thank you for checking us out. If you end up liking today's episode, hit that like button, comment with your thoughts. You know, we always enjoy listening or reading your guys' comments when we get them. Also, if you have any questions, that'd be a great way to have us talk about it in future episodes. Also check out these episodes on our channel, and for all your Dean needs, be sure to subscribe to the channel right now so you can see them whenever you want. So with that said,
Your what
Yeah.
needs?
All your dean needs.
Nobody
They're never
needs it, trust me.
Those needs are never satisfied, my man.
Yeah. I've got witnesses.
Eee.
So,
Yikes.
so this week's episode, we plan on talking about a little bit of Lions news and training camp, a little bit of college football news, and we had another guest on this week that will be talking to us in regards to our college football season preview, which is Central Michigan University.
Fire up.
Fire up.
Fire up. But before we do all that,
go.
I love the sweatshirt. I do like that sweatshirt. Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
So before we big choo-choo tree.
I think I'd be 223.
So before we get into all the stuff that we are going to talk about tonight, Dean, how was your weekend?
Well, I did
Lonely
something.
and shame-filled.
Well, I guess I don't have to go over my weekend. I think you just said it right there. It was good. I mean, it was another typical weekend. To preface this to the people listening, is I'm a single guy with no kids or responsibilities. This is why I golf and play terribly every weekend, because I can. I have the time. I have no other responsibilities. So let's just put that out.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So yes,
I'm sure your kid that you never see.
Yeah.
No, it was terrible golf all weekend, but it was a good time.
Awesome. For me, my weekend consisted of being full-time parent. I mean, I'm a full-time parent anyway, but Kate was gone.
First time.
Kate was gone all weekend, so it was just Charlie and I, and we had a good time. We went golfing. She's really, for never taking lessons, she's really starting to hit the ball pretty well. She can drive a cart, probably better than me. So
she probably hit the ball better than me.
She's like, Dad's drunk again. You better drive that cart.
What I did think about was one of our previous episodes where we talked about Charlie having to go in the bathroom with me at the water park.
Oh, yeah.
And that same horrible situation for her happened again this time.
You're just scarring this kid everywhere.
This poor child. How many deuces this girl got to be forced to watch?
Just look at her. It's time to do it again.
She literally went, oh.
Oh, I bet, dude.
What do you like? Like I said before,
there's nothing you can do. You can't leave her out.
You can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, kid. Someone had nachos the night before.
Life gets better from here, I promise. Your dreams are not over.
Oh man. So that was pretty much my weekend, Eddie.
Yeah, mine was pretty chill too, man. I mean, it was kind of crappy outside over the weekend, at least down where I'm at. A lot of rain. So we mostly camped out inside. Friday night was fun for my younger two kids because I let them, my younger boy, John, he's been getting into WWE pretty seriously. So we stayed up and we watched, the full episode of SmackDown on Friday night. And that was an event for them for sure. And it was cool. It's fun seeing them get into it. I remember being that age and starting to get into that. And he's watching mostly old clips because he doesn't watch it live. So, like his favorite guys are like The Rock and John Cena and The Undertaker and, guys like that. So it's been fun. It's been fun to watch with that. But as far as that goes, I mean, we really didn't do much else because it was just rainy. We couldn't go outside much and really wasn't anywhere to go. Aside from that, big news from last week, and we got a shout out. Good friend of the show. Man of integrity. Man of honor.
The best.
And he proved it all over the last week. Captain Brian Dooley, Eastern Michigan football stud, an all-around amazing guy, gives up his scholarship to a walk-on.
Yeah.
It honestly, that's what it's all about, man. That's what college football is all about. That's the good stuff. And of course, him, of all people, was the guy to do it. And we knew it. We saw him right from the beginning. Awesome dude. He proved it yet again. Although he's scared to take me on in Oklahoma, that aside, you got to love Brian Dooley. I hope this is the kind of thing where you see a guy like Brad Holmes or other GMs really take notice, because a lot of guys have the skill. A lot of guys have the size, but it's that extra something. It's the integrity. It's that grit. It's the care for the teammates that really, I think, sees him maybe go on to the next level and hang around for quite some time, because you can't have enough character guys, let alone guys with skill like he has to.
Oh, I agree. And with our interactions with him too, he's been extremely cool. You know what I mean? Like, we're not a big podcast. We're not like major news or anything like that. And for him to treat us the way he does when he interacts with us, I know we kind of, we're like, oh, Brad Holmes, you should check this guy out and things like that. But like, it's getting to a point now. Yeah, it's getting to a point now where it's like, man, if he was a Detroit Lion, that'd be freaking awesome.
Super excited to have a guy like that on your favorite team. I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about the size. We've talked about the skill. The guy's 300 pounds. Bees. Straight man. And 300 pounds of straight integrity.
And honor.
And honor. Love you, Brian Dooley. Thanks for being a good guy, not just to us, but to everybody around you, man.
Agreed. Completely agree. So with that said, we'll stick to the college football subject and want to touch base on other news that happened this week with the Big Ten and how it relates to what we talk about and things like that, with Oregon and Washington joining the Big Ten now. That puts the Big Ten not a Big Ten anymore. It's 18, and I don't know if you guys have seen anything on how they're going to structure the conference. I don't know if it's just going to be, they're going to have to split it into divisions, right? I know they're getting rid of the East and West after this year.
Well, it was all kind of up in the air, right? I mean, they were getting rid of that. They had released the conference schedules, and now we've added 2 more. So now it's kind of like, as far as that goes, I think they're back to the ground zero on that.
Right. Yeah, because you have to, with that many teams, you're not going to have a whole one conference, and then especially in the day and age of money and championship games. So I don't know, like, what is, to me, as a Michigan fan, take away how good Michigan is right now, right? And you just look at it purely from a Big Ten standpoint. Like, to me, and Dean, we've talked about this, right? I've said I would much rather not people, but teams joining the Big Ten than the other way around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course,
I would much rather us get USC, UCLA than having to go play all West Coast games. You know what I mean? Oh man,
No
and
doubt.
I think that's why they joined the Big Ten, because and I talked about this with someone at work too, where you don't watch Pac-12 games. You know what I mean? Unless it's like early-ish. You're not watching 11:30, Arizona, Washington State.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would rather watch a, I don't know, Vanderbilt LSU game where Vanderbilt just gets killed rather than watch that. Just because it doesn't. Sometimes they don't get over till 1 a.m. on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's tough to watch a West Coast game.
So as Michigan State fans, like, does that do anything for you, or is it just business as usual?
I would say probably just business as usual. But going back to why like Washington, Oregon chose to leave the Pac-12, I had read something along the lines of they weren't happy with like the TV contract that they were getting with the conference coming up. It was going to be like mostly through like Apple streaming and things like that, and it was something along the lines of like they already don't get a lot of exposure throughout the entire country, and just being on a streaming service would just kind of pigeonhole them into a corner in comparison to, obviously Big Ten has a lot of, TV contract money, even them taking like a reduced cut of the pie per se. I mean, they're still going to be making more than, I mean you'd think anyway. I mean, it's not like the Pac-12 has that many sweet, I mean, those were, I mean, I wouldn't say the premier teams now, but the two of the top teams left in the Pac-12. So, I mean, them leaving, you were saying that they're talking about getting rid of the East and West, but if there's 18 teams now, like, are you suggesting that they like kind of switch it to like a 4 division conference, to where you would put the West Coast teams obviously in one little division, and then you'd have like Michigan State. I don't know how that would work per se, but I mean, what do you think? Do you think they just separate it to 9 and 9 teams again and just call it something different, or just do 4 separate divisions within the conference?
It'll be interesting to see, because you're gonna have to have a conference championship. Like, that's just
Right.
the way of the world now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? How you do it is what's going to be interesting, because I mean, you could take the top 2 teams, but there's always going to be, like, what if Iowa goes 11-1, but they played all, not great teams,
Right.
but they're top 2 in the conference. You
Right.
can't just
Did they start their own playoff within the Big Ten?
They might have to. If you were to split it up into more than 2 divisions, you'd have to have like a semifinal and then a Big Ten championship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if, like, because I'm just thinking about this now. If you had like 3 6-team divisions, and then you did a 6-team conference playoff, top 2 teams in each division, you just reduce a regular season game and make that a part of the end of the regular season. And so then you really only add on one extra game for 2 teams. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're gonna have to figure something out, obviously, or they'll just go all 18 in one conference, and the best conference winning percentage, the top 2 go to. It's not going to be a fair system unless you come up with a division system with a playoff. You're not going to get a fair representation, because it depends on your schedule. And so, you'll have what we have now, which is you have a team in the West that isn't nearly as good as the team coming out of the East, and the West just doesn't win. So you'll have Northwestern having a great schedule one year, making it to the championship, and then getting blown out by OSU or Michigan. I mean,
well, I wouldn't say it's to counteract your point, but when you get into that conference with that many teams, you're playing 8 division opponents if you split it evenly down the middle, right? Because you got 9 teams per conference. So 8 of your games are all within your division because you're going to have to play your whole division.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
At this point now, I almost non-conference games are going to be obsolete. You might get 1, you might get 2, but I would say you'd almost have to go 8 your 8 division games and then 2 crossovers. And that gives you 10 games. And then you have 2 non-conference.
Pretty much. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
but I mean, I don't know. You're right, Ed. I don't know how that. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do because I just don't think you can split it into 4 divisions. I just maybe you can. I don't know. But when you're at, it'll be pretty unprecedented. I don't think the SEC has.
you'd have to add 2 more.
mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
you'd have to add 2 more teams. I mean,
they're probably looking to do it at some point. You know,
there. I mean, a couple teams that might make sense would be like UNC and Virginia.
Mhm.
Teams that they're looking at. I mean, athletically, academically, those would be great fits. To talk about a power basketball conference. I mean,
Yeah.
what if they could snake Clemson?
they could. I mean, ACC is kind of the guy sitting in the background. I mean, we're going over here. I like that they acquired Oregon and Washington because they kind of have to,
Mhm.
because you can't stagnate anymore. Otherwise, ACC, Big 12 could potentially make a run and grab a couple guys. And if you want to stay relevant, stay the bigger conference, that's what you got to do. At the end of the day, as Dean was alluding to, it's about money. At the end of the day, it's about money. And that deal you were talking about, the Apple TV deal, it was scheduled to pay 23 mil a season. That was the base for each school in the Pac-12, and it could get up to 50 million per school if they hit like 5 million subscribers.
Right.
Which, on comparison, the NFL Network or Sunday Ticket has 2 million subscribers. So like, they're not getting that. They're not going to double. The Pac-12 isn't going to double what the NFL Sunday Ticket does. I mean, just straight up, they're not going to get to 50.
Yeah.
So they're at
Right.
23. The Big 12 has a deal that's worth like 30 something million per school. On average, the Big 10 pays out 58.8.
Yeah.
And with adding 2 schools, that was with 16 teams. Adding 2 schools, that brings us to like 53 or 54 per school. You know, like it's just,
and they took a little less too.
yeah. I mean, economically, there's no reason. It doesn't make sense for them not to,
Right.
at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably saw the deal that the Pac-12 was working with Apple TV, and they're like, we're going to do over double that without having to work for more subscribers just by joining the Big 10. And it's going to save some programs, probably, whatever. And now that we already have USC, UCLA, obviously that helps them out logistically, at least a little bit. So I don't know. To me, that's what it's all about. It's money. That's what it, at the end of the day, it's money.
Right.
They don't care about a lot of the other stuff. There was some interesting article, or it was some kind of podcast. I can't remember. I was reading about it though, and it was like TV executive guys talking about stuff like this. And they were like, we don't look at necessarily something, but at the end of the day, it came down to matchups. Like what, and that makes sense, right? It was just, it was an interesting article, and if I find it, I'll send it to you guys. But it was all about what's the juicy matchup. And so at the end of the day, you talk about, could you lose a protected rivalry game? You know, Michigan OSU stays, and you might only get to keep one. You know, and obviously that's the juicy matchup. But
right,
I don't know.
Well, and I also saw something too where Missouri's football coach is like, well, this is all well and good for football. What about like other schools or other sports,
The
like,
non-revenue sports.
yeah, wrestling or, what, women's basketball or tennis or, men's bowling. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, crazy.
I
Well,
mean,
we'll see what happens.
You were talking about Michigan State business as usual type of thing. And the only thing I just wanted to point out was interesting because I was thinking about the new schools. And I'm like, it honestly is not a giant like change for a lot of Michigan State folks because like we're still in the middle of a home and home with Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen home and homes with Oregon. We've played UCLA in basketball to, kick off the year a couple times. We just played USC in the tournament. So like I think MSU probably has a lot of exposure to at least or familiarity or comfortability with playing against
Mm-hmm.
those guys as opposed to like in Iowa
Right.
or, some where they're just kind of playing Big Ten guys doing whatever.
Right.
Even Michigan. I
Yep.
mean, they did have that Wazoo game, right? They did a home and home with them, didn't they? Or was it just home at Michigan?
It was just home, and then they played
Yeah.
Washington at home.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, there's some familiarity there, but Michigan State's has been going out and doing that for a while. It really kicked off with D'Antonio. I mean, we had Boise State at home before, so there was like some exposure, but seeing that those teams coming in, I'm like, okay, like it's doable because they've done it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as crazy as like people like the travel and everything. It's like these are very incredibly rich, lucrative things for schools and football programs, and a flight is nothing compared to what the 50 some million
they're taken care of.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. They're comfortable, trust me.
I mean, it's tough as a student, but let's be honest. I mean, most of those guys aren't there to hopefully get their degree. They're hopefully trying to get to the next level.
Right. So real quickly, before we get our guest on for our Central Michigan preview, wanted to go real quick over some Lions news. We got Teddy Bridgewater.
Welcome to the den.
Yep.
TB5.
Now Detroit Lion. We've talked about this before. It'll be great for Hooker to learn from Goff and Teddy. Real quickly, where does that leave Nate Sudfeld?
In free agency.
Probably. I mean, I guess by the time this releases, we'll have seen if he got some reps in on Friday,
right?
During that game, and it's not impossible that Sudfeld wins the job. He was with Goff all last year. I mean, other than what Ben Johnson likes, right, out of a backup, which I highlighted before, third down conversion rates and 2-minute drill efficiency, which Teddy Bridgewater is excellent at. But Sudfeld has been with Goff for a while, and I think the number one job for a backup QB is helping the starting QB. Right. In general, you always see them. They're right next to the QB on the sidelines between drives, everything else. They're looking at the iPads, whatever. And, I think at the end of the day, it's a little bit Goff's decision too.
Mm-hmm.
But, if MCDC is like, hey, Bridgewater's my guy, man, then that's just, he's going to be there. But I feel better with Bridgewater, obviously. Yeah. If like we're in week 15, Goff goes down and we're got a chance to make a run in the playoffs, I'll be like, thank God Teddy Bridgewater's here because we actually have a chance.
Right.
That's what I was going to say. He at least, I'm assuming he's going to make the team, but would probably be a good guess, right? I would feel a lot more comfortable with Teddy Bridgewater coming in the game compared to like long-term, short-term, any type of term compared to Nate Sudfeld. I mean, I get if Jared likes Nate, that's all great and dandy, and they can golf in the off season together. But I get, but you're not wrong. Like he is the backup is pretty important to the quarterback, in general.
Preparation.
Preparation wise, they're in the same room together all the time, constantly going over film together. You know what I mean? Things like that.
Right.
And so it's like, as long as he builds a chemistry with Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know Teddy Bridgewater personally, but I would hope
he's
that,
great.
he's had experience as a backup, so I assume he knows, like what he has to do and how he, things like that. And hopefully him and Goff can get along.
Mhm.
I liked it a lot. I liked the move a lot. And,
Of course.
it makes us more comfortable with what we're doing at quarterback, I feel.
Like
Right.
we've said before, it's as good of a backup quarterback as you can have in the NFL.
Yeah.
Without
Right.
Borderline
poaching somebody's starter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
To be your
borderline
backup.
starter already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that's what he was probably waiting on, to see if somebody went down, I would bet. Because he'd be the first call pretty much any
Yeah.
team would make. They'd be like,
Right.
hey, what's Teddy's availability looking like?
Yeah.
We need a guy.
Or is Jacoby Brissett up for trade? Or
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
One of those guys.
I mean, those are the two dudes. I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Both sides.
yeah. In other Lions news, Lions season tickets are sold out for this season. For this season, yeah. First time in Ford Field history, which is crazy. Not that crazy, really. It's like, it's not that crazy.
With the hype,
yeah. Lions' first preseason game is this Friday, or when you guys see it, it was on Friday. Real quickly, what are you looking for going into this game? I mean, we kind of talked about it with Sudfeld now, right? But anything you're looking at?
Specifically, I kind of want to see Starling Thomas out there. He's made some noise in camp and he's caused a few issues. JMO took a swipe at him. I mean, I'm just interested to see him out there. The other big one I want to see too is Sorsdahl. I want to see him play, and I want to see if Anza Worke's back.
up and healthy and good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, obviously same things. I'm looking forward to see like which young guy is going to stand out, like that was not noticed. You know what I mean? Like somebody that we drafted low. I mean, we seem to find Brad Holmes seems like I'm in the freaking scouting room
Here in the room.
with Brad, just like I think you should take Jameer.
Brad, go with Sorsdahl.
Take Rodriguez in the sixth.
Broderick Martin.
So it seems like he finds these guys in these later rounds that you would never expect, or even unrestricted free agents, or undrafted free agents, I should say. I'm just excited to see like who's going to be that guy this year, if anybody. I think Starling Thomas is a good one, like you said. I think he could stand out this year. I like he's played well in practice, and I mean that only says so much, but we kind of need him to play well, until we figure out what's going on with Mosley. So,
right,
that's what I've been looking forward to.
It'll be interesting to see, how the linebackers work out and who gets paired with who, and we'll see how that goes going forward.
Do we get one drive out of the starters on both sides?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say. I
always
maybe,
forget how they plan that out.
I'd say
3 games it's different.
I'd say more likely offense. Would be the one drive.
Mm-hmm.
I would almost expect real quickly. I would almost expect the linebackers to go out for longer than one drive, because I just think it's that close of a battle.
Mm-hmm.
So, last thing on the Lions, wanted to ask you guys, and then we'll get our guest in. Is the national hype of the Lions freaking you guys out a little bit?
Yes and no. Yes, because it's putting a lot of pressure. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, even I'm sure you guys saw that quote. Dan was like, "I don't feel pressure. I don't feel weight," or whatever he was saying. But
The wind beneath his wings.
yeah, he just feels the wind beneath his wings. That was the quote.
Yeah.
And but I mean, putting a lot of expectations on these young guys that, I mean, they started off 1-6 last year. You know, I mean, they're still young, they're still learning. Yeah, they went to in that last 10 and play well, but it does freak me out because, you know, as Lions fans, longtime Lions fans, we've seen this song and dance where they were good one year and we're like, next year's the year. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's the same situation. But it does kind of freak me out because now everybody's like, oh, look at the Lions, you know. And it's like, well, nobody ever did this before. You know, if they were good, if they sucked, nobody cared. But now if they're bad, like, oh, now Dan and Brad Holmes both got to go. You know what I mean? Things like that. So,
well, it's like that. It's like that all the time too. Like when they were 1-6, they wanted them gone.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Know, right?
Yeah, immediately. And but also no, because I mean, I love seeing them get the love. You know what I mean? Because they never got this in my lifetime. You know, other than be with Barry, but I was young. You know, I don't remember a lot of the media stuff. You know, so
yeah, man. It doesn't freak me out. Yeah, I absorb it a little bit. It's only just the hype doesn't freak me out. It's just my own personal thoughts. Like it doesn't matter where the hype is because I'm always thinking like they got a shot. They got a shot at having a good year. They showed they have a great shot at coming in this season and having a good year. It's just my own personal scars of being a Lions fan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it on the hype because I love the hype. I love the attention because we just, like you said, we just don't get that on a regular basis. And so I just take it while we can get it. That's where I'm at in my head. I'll just take it while it's happening.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't, it doesn't. You crash and burn it, whether the hype is there or not. You either crash and burn or you don't. And so, I'm with Dan Campbell. I feel like that's how I would feel about it too. It's like it's not pressure. It's like that's motivating. It's inspirational. It's like people believe in us now. Our fans believe. We haven't sold out since Barry.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. You know, like, and the fans are the ones who are going to hold you the most accountable.
Right.
So sometimes
at the end of the day, a little too accountable.
Yeah.
Sensitive.
Yes.
Some of these fans, but
yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm excited. The hype is what it is, man. There's a team every year. We just happens to be the Lions. And just take it while we can get it.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. So no, it doesn't freak me out either. I mean, Eddie, you said it perfectly. The hype's there. Right. The hype's there. If they crash and burn, they crash and burn. You know, I'm still a fan. So, I think they're up to the challenge anyway. So
yeah,
you know, on barring a curse, I think this is a good football team. So, you know, we'll see what happens. So
no doubt. Excited, man.
Yeah.
So moving on into what we have been doing for the last couple weeks, we are now in week 3 of the college football season preview for Michigan teams. If you didn't watch last week's, we did Michigan. The week before, we did the fellas in Kalamazoo. So this week, we are going into Central Michigan University. Yes.
Fire up.
Chips. So with that, we thought we'd bring in a guest. So our guest tonight, he's a CMU grad who loved Maction so much, he started a podcast with his co-hosts Connor and Benji, where they talk all things Mac. Please welcome from the Great Lakes Gridiron Podcast, Justin.
Yeah, there it is.
Happy to
How
be
you
a part
Fire
of it.
up.
Fire up. Happy to be a part of it. Thanks for having me, guys. Love your guys'
No,
podcast.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Love
Appreciate
it.
it.
Love yours too. I listened to the first episode and thoroughly enjoyed it. So
You as the editor probably loved it even more when we were like, hey, edit that, and we never did.
I know. I know.
We'll catch it later.
Yeah, Connor's like, shout out Easter for winning the Idaho Potato Bowl in Iowa. I mean, cut that.
No, I
Hey,
thought it
first
was
episode, right?
great, good first episode, man. A lot of good information, honestly. I mean, if you got any interest in college football, any interest like Maction, I mean, like any hardcore football fan, man. I mean, you guys got good stuff going.
We try
Yeah.
to. We try to. You guys have a lot of great Detroit, mainly Detroit sports, but Michigan now. You guys have a lot of great stuff. Love the humor you guys have. Love the brother connection you have going.
All right, take it easy. Take it easy. All right.
That's awesome.
Am I gonna get asked which one's my favorite? Like which brother?
Ooh, yeah, you can actually.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
I can't do that.
Not again.
Bill, stop looking into his eyes so longingly. That's how he gets them every time.
This is gym class all over again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So, like I said, your podcast is the Great Lakes Gridiron Podcast. Enjoyed it a lot. Looking forward to more episodes. You can catch them on Spotify. Are you guys are just on Spotify right now?
For now, yeah, we're eventually gonna get over to Apple Podcasts. We're gonna talk about that tomorrow when we record our next episode. What all we got to do for it, but yeah, we're gonna get on podcast and then we're gonna release it to YouTube. All that. We just wanted to get that out there first, get something out there, and then start working with it.
Perfect. Awesome.
Heck yeah.
Looking forward to it. So, main reason why we brought you on is because, like I said, all things Mac, and we're doing Central Michigan this week. Like I said in the intro, you're a CMU grad.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. I am not a CMU grad. I was a CMU attendee.
That's fine.
I'm not what you would call a smart man.
We like to so my friends and I, we go to a CMU away game every year, one away game. We're gonna go to two this year because of Michigan State and CMU, but we're gonna go to Notre Dame. But what we like to tell people is we're the Harvard of the Midwest.
Dude, I'm on board with that. If nobody knows, dude, that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Right?
Like, oh, it's the Harvard of the Midwest. I mean,
yeah, it's especially great when like we went to LSU and they're like, oh, where is CMU? It's like, oh, it's in Mount Pleasant, middle of Michigan. They're like, why you go there? Harvard of the Midwest.
It's fact.
Yeah.
It's well known. It's documented.
It is.
That's awesome. So getting into CMU, little overview real quick. CMU 4-8 last year. I guess Justin, for me, I was doing a little research on it, and it looked like they're returning a little under half of their production on offense from last year, if that's correct. And then Emmanuel's their starter this year.
So he is the per se starter, not 100%. He only threw, I think, 8 passes last year in the games he started. I mean, he is a run first, run heavy style quarterback. He reminds me a lot of Tim Tebow, except with not as good, not as accurate. We'll see how. Like he's just a big, strong guy that can lower his shoulder, get 4 or 5 yards each time he carries the ball. Problem is that takes a toll on you. How long does that last? So we'll see. I assume he's going to be the starter. There's not a confirmed yet, but it's leaning that way.
Okay. All right. With that said, with him only throwing 8 passes, And like I said, under half of the offensive production from last year. Are things not going to look good in Mount Pleasant this year?
So I think this team is actually really underrated. Where they're a lot younger. They have probably maybe the best offensive tackle, offensive lineman in the league, in Deontay Powell Woods. He is 6'5", 300. You can't teach that. You can't teach that at all. But he's probably going to go pro. He might actually be a day 2, day 3 pick. I can see him going between 3rd and 5th round. He's a monster for where he plays at. They're, like I said, they're young. They got a transfer from Wisconsin named Stephen Bracey, and I would compare him to Khalil Pimpleton. Maybe not as good, but he was the kick and punt returner at Wisconsin. 3-star, transferred over to CMU. Here's the cool thing is he's from Kentwood High School. So he went to Western and initially committed to Western, and then Wisconsin gave him the offer. And then he went to Wisconsin and then transferred to CMU. So I can't wait for his first Western game this year. He's gonna come home and hopefully do what Khalil did to them.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah,
and that's kind of interesting because that kind of starts like this first wave of like double transfers since the rules have changed.
Yeah,
I'm curious how much the MAC sees coming off of that.
In our first episode, we talked about how the transfer portal, it's a giveth and taketh system. You'll see a lot of MAC players go away, just because they get poached by the SEC or the Big Ten and all that. But what you'll see too is you look at Rocky Lombardi from Michigan State. He transferred to NIU. So you'll see a lot of those where they see the writing on the wall after they transfer, or after they start 3-4 years that they can't start, they'll come to the MAC and play.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And as far as poaching goes, wasn't CMU's quarterback last year? Didn't he go to FAU?
Florida Atlantic. Yeah, Daniel Richardson. He, he'll always be a CMU guy through and through. He had some great memories with him. Got to see him live at Penn State and LSU when we went down there to visit him, or not visit him, but visit there and watch the games. But we actually, fun fact, at the Penn State game, we actually sat right next to his father. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, he was. I mean, who else had a Daniel Richardson jersey that was 20 years older than him and looked like him? Yeah. We don't know him on a first name basis, but we believe it was Mr. Richardson. So
this may be just a super fan, man. Who knows?
Maybe.
Been following him since grade school, man. I've been.
Yeah. A dedication.
Yeah. You watch a Florida Atlantic game this year, and dude's got a Richard.
He's got to split like the split household in FAU. That'd be cool if they played in a bowl game just to see him do that.
Oh man.
But back to your point, Bill, about CMU. One key note I would like to mention is that Jim McElwain's never had back-to-back losing seasons. Never in his coaching career. So at worst I would expect 6-6, but I'm thinking I like this team a lot. They're young. They're going to be very run heavy. They're not going to be this high flying type of fun action offense people want to see. They're going to be grinding. They're going to be running the ball down your throat. It's going to be a lot of quarterback power, read option, all that stuff. But if it works, it works. It doesn't matter as long as you win games.
No.
Right.
No.
With that said, the defense though is returning over half of their production from last year, and I looked it up, and they in FBS last year they ranked 62nd in the nation in total. So with that being in the MAC and going 4-8, is the defense just going to be that much better this year?
So they do lose a key guy in Thomas Incoom, who went to he was a UDFA to the Denver Broncos. He had 10.5 sacks last year. Guy was a monster. He single-handedly won that Buffalo. It was Burt Emanuel and Incoom who won that Buffalo game last year. Burt ran for 280 yards, and Income I think had 3 sacks. So they dominated that. So replacing him is going to be key. I want to see how they do that. But they're returning Dante Kent on the back end, cornerback. He is on, all the watch lists. He's a second team All MAC preseason guy. So he's going to be locking down the secondary. I compare him to Sean Murphy-Bunting. I think he can be a 5th, 6th round, 7th round type cornerback that will one day be impactful at the pros. And he's not necessarily the fastest guy in the world, but he's very good with his hands, and he is very good with his eyes and not cheating towards the ball. So,
and that's why we brought him on.
Yes. I will say, so their schedule is not easy to start. They start at, and this is where I was going to go to Dean's question after this, though. But they start at Michigan State on Friday night, and then they host New Hampshire, then they play at Notre Dame, and then at South Alabama, and then they come home and host Eastern. It's one of those where I wish they would have hosted Ball State or Northern Illinois, an easier opponent, because Eastern is the podcast dark horse to winning the MAC. They are really good. They're returning a lot. Great.
Who's
great
that?
Team.
Who's that again?
Eastern Michigan.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Eastern's our dark horse. They're returning a lot. They're doing a great job in the factory over there in Ypsilanti. So yeah, I wish the schedule was a little better, but I can easily see CMU starting 1-3 and then finishing 6-2. So that Eastern game is going to be a dogfight, and then they finish with Toledo on Black Friday, which I want to go on a little bit of a rant real quick. The MAC needs to stop putting Black Friday games. You have to do that. You're trying to compete against Nebraska and Iowa. You can't do that. You can't compete against these big games. Like, put that game on a Tuesday before Thanksgiving. We all want extra Thanksgiving football.
Right.
So, yeah, absolutely.
That's not a rant.
I'm trying to keep it short.
So before I get into the record predictions for each of us, the one thing I did want to ask was, with the team this year, who do you think the X factors will be for them to be successful?
It's definitely going to be on Burt Emanuel. He's I know that's kind of a cop out using the quarterback, but it's like I said, if you look at the stats last year, I think he threw the ball 9 times total. Like I don't know, from what I heard in camp is he's doing well at throwing the ball, but what does that mean? No one's ever going to say they're doing terribly, especially for a freshman quarterback. So I personally think all he has to do is just hit these 10, 15-yard routes, these nice, easy ones. I mean, I'm going to use like kind of a little bit of a comparison, but like if he can just do what Jared Goff does in the offense and just, game manage and, be able to hit the open receivers, I think, CMU could win the MAC. That's the ceiling on this team, and that's how good he can be if he can hit these open, 10, 15-yard routes, because he's going to run for 100, 150 a game. He's just going to. He's that good of an athlete. And then again,
now, let me ask you this. Conversely, because Chase Bauer's obviously the guy with the arm.
Yeah.
In there, do you think they could still win the MAC if he's the starting quarterback, even if he's throwing well? Like, do they have the receivers for that?
I don't think they have the receivers to necessarily be a game changer like they have had in the past. Carlos Carrier was supposed to be that guy last year, but he got injured. He's on the Giants now, and I think he'll actually make that roster with how that's not the best receiving core in the league. But I don't know. Burt brings something. And also another thing, too, the only thing I would say is that what Jace can do better, like he can throw the ball better, but he'll also be able to keep the defenses on their toes because he can run too. So if you flip him into the game instead of Bird, it'll be like, oh, we have to now respect the pass.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that they will probably do, is bring him on for, like, let's say a 2nd and 5. They're going to be like, okay, that's normally a running down, but we'll bring him on and hopefully the safety's back up 2-3 yards. And then we'll do a quarterback power with him. But the problem with him is he couldn't stay healthy either. That's why Daniel Richardson took over the job when he did.
Hmm.
And then on the back end, like I said, I know it's a cop out because it's the second team All American guy, but it's Dante Kent. If he can lock down the best receiver on the other team, then CMU is going to be able to get after the quarterback and win games that way.
Nice. Well, it'll be interesting to see because I mean, I had that written down too. Where, and I said it when we did all the Michigan teams in one of our earlier episodes. Was that McElwain had never had back-to-back losing seasons.
Yeah.
And so that'll be interesting to see because I also, when I was like doing some research too, was like I didn't realize, but there was talks of him retiring.
Yeah, there were and it was based off of last year. He said last year, right after the Mac Media Days, that last year was one of his most difficult years as a coach because he felt like he let the team down. He felt he didn't put them in the position to win, and he said as a coach he never wants to do that again. And he said if that does happen, then he obviously has lost the motivation to coach. And you can kind of see last year. I think it was after the Toledo game. Yeah, after the Toledo game, I think Lou Nichols got hurt. The offensive line got banged up a little bit, and it was just everyone was just like, the team they kind of just phoned it in. I don't want to say they phoned it in because no one ever truly phones it in, but they weren't playing with the passion that they had the first few years with Jim McElwain. I think he'll be fine. Like I said, I think they're going to go 7-5 at worst. I think he'll be fine. They'll get it right back, and he'll be there for another 3 to 5 years unless another big team wants to poach him. But it seems like he really likes Mount Pleasant, which is really hard to say. I love Mount Pleasant just because I went there, but I don't know about living there full time. It's quite tough.
The mean streets, it's that tough. It's that kind of tough. Like you can't handle it out there.
Wayside and O'Kelly's, man. Like that's my time.
And that's why I didn't graduate from CMU. So, Dean, what do you have for what do you think they're going to finish at?
Well, I'm coming off on a fresh slate here because I can't remember what I predicted before. So we're just going to go clean. So now that we've been doing this for a little while and I've done my own little bits of research, and I think I've improved their record. I think originally I had them going maybe 5-7, 4-8, maybe. But I think now if the offense can get clicking, and as you discussed, with with Emmanuel and him taking over in Bauer, possibly. I don't know if maybe they'll do like a rotation of quarterbacks, just like you said, to kind of switch it up, run a power with Bauer instead. As long as he can stay healthy, I would imagine. I think that would be a route they could take in the MAC anyway. But obviously wide receiver is a big question. I mean, they lost a lot of guys. Their best receiver was what's his name? McGaffey.
Yeah.
I can't. Yeah, something like that. I mean, he's 6'4". I'm always looking into height, and you can't teach it. I mean, he only had 20 grabs last year, which isn't good. I mean, I'm assuming he was like the second or third option.
20 more grabs than you had last year, bro.
You're not wrong. Well, the guy behind him only had 4 grabs.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, he has more than me as well. So, my entire playing career.
Carlos Carrier was the number 1 last year, and he got hurt.
He was the number 1 guy.
Yeah, and then like I said, the last 4 games
they lost a guy to transfer.
Yeah, and then when you have 4 guys, like your last 4 games, when you only throw the ball 10 times, it's hard to.
Yeah. Right, and then they became a run-heavy team. And,
yeah.
But with all that said, if the offense can move, I think 7-5 is a good guess. Is a good estimate for their season. That's what I'm gonna go with the expert himself here saying it. How could I go against it?
Before we get to Eddie, Justin, what was your question for Dean?
So I know you're a Michigan State fan.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for the first game against us Chips?
Well,
Because that's where the CMU game and where CMU season's really going to get dictated. If they can come out and play a great game against MSU, I'm immediately changing my prediction to 8-4, 9-3.
are you saying just play a great game and still lose, or or they win, play a great game and win?
If CMU comes out and let's say they lose by 14, but it's not like they were down 14 the whole game. They gave up a garbage time touchdown late and kept it within a touchdown the whole game. I would say CMU could win, maybe win the MAC. That's how high it can go because they're given. And it also depends on how great MSU is too.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. It looks great for CMU, but it does not look very good for MSU, not in the slightest. Let's spell in maybe a winless season, possibly. They'll win at least 2.
If CMU can move the ball against Michigan State, then that's what I'm talking about. Like with having,
maybe they're just that legit. It's not crazy for a MAC team to just have a good team.
Yeah.
But I mean, with all the questions week 1 on offense, if they're able to move the ball up and down, it's going to be a long year for Michigan State. So it's going to be a really long year for Michigan
CMU
State.
was projected to finish 4th in the West. So that's why I like to use that Michigan State game as a totem because, CMU is going to come answering that call. They're going to play up to that competition.
For sure. Yeah.
They see it as a rivalry. And that's actually something I asked Eddie earlier. I've asked Eddie this probably about a month ago. But what do you guys think about Michigan State CMU being an annual rivalry game?
I like it.
Why not?
I mean,
until CMU beats Michigan State, I'm all for it.
Funny thing you say that because what pulled up on my YouTube today was 2009.
Remember 09.
Yeah. We remember.
I watched that whole thing too.
I remember that. I was a wee boy.
I was 34 years old.
I asked that question because there's a MAC there's a rivalry between a MAC school and a Power 5 school right now, and it's Cincinnati, Miami of Ohio, and I believe Cincinnati has won 18 in a row, and so at that point it's like, is it really a rivalry? Well, if you look back 30-40 years ago, Miami of Ohio won 23 in a row. So, Miami of Ohio was asking the same question: is this really a rivalry? So it's
right.
That's why. I think it would be great for the state if CMU played MSU every year.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting. Cool. Originally, as a CMU guy, I like it because it's good for CMU. As an MSU fan, I don't love it, but. As we had talked about earlier with conference expansion, stuff like that, we're going to have super limited non-conference games. So honestly, it almost makes more sense to me now. Just have that as the set non-conference game, which, CMU will be playing tough every year, trying to make it happen. It'll be a rivalry now. It's in state, and it'll be a great test for MSU, I think, moving forward, to get a season going, because it's going to be a hard fought, tough game most years, where you're getting the best from the other guys. And, those MAC guys, man, I mean, a lot of those guys were this close to a Power 5 scholarship.
Right.
And with the right coaching, you got to get, if Jim McElwain's still there, then it's always going to be, I think it'd always be tough.
So, and one more question for Dean and Eddie. Sorry to go off topic here, Bill.
No, you're good.
But do you guys consider CMU versus Michigan State more of a rivalry than Western versus Michigan State? Or do you see it kind of like just as the same? It's another MAC school that's in the state that's playing.
I mean, I personally do, because I have vested interest in both. So there feels like there's more, but also because of the central victory. It gives it. So I don't remember the last time Western beat MSU. I have no idea when that was. If
Yeah,
ever.
I don't, and I also
And
think
that
it's the fact that it's connected by 127 as well. It's just one road you take to go straight up
yeah,
there, and
Right.
it's so
Yeah.
close. And the schools are very similar in the
the
fact
battle
that
for 127.
the battle for 127. Yeah,
Like
make that a trophy. Make that a
I like
trophy.
Yeah.
I like it.
That would be cool.
Just the trophy's just a road with potholes in it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. An orange traffic cone is actually the trophy. Make it happen.
That's perfect.
Make it happen.
I'll actually answer that question too, because like Eddie said, I don't know the last time Western beat Michigan State at all. But I do remember, like we just said, in 09 Central beating Michigan State. And Michigan State went to Mount Pleasant too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
2012. Yep.
yeah. So I would agree. I think that's definitely a more of a rivalry than the other two.
And I wish Michigan State would come back to Mount Pleasant. I get it why they don't, because they make more money with CMU coming down, selling out. I get all that. But it was a year before I went to CMU. But Connor and Benji, if we have another Mac podcast, before Maction, they can tell you all about that game. They both were there. They said it was one of the most fun weekends they've ever had at CMU.
Sure.
And it was, people left and right, all that. So we would love to have them back.
Yeah,
It'd be cool.
I'm not sure they want to come back.
No. But they have to make so many away, like if they have to meet the quota for away games, why not make it an easy one that's an hour down the road? Why do that instead of flying to Washington?
It's true.
Right. Yeah, and getting spanked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Wasn't me, Eddie.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, what are you gonna do, man? What happened is what happened. I mean, you can't.
Yeah. All we can do is laugh.
Yeah.
Eddie, what's your prediction for CMU?
I mean, I got a lot to unpack here with this.
Yeah, we know.
Just kidding. There was one transfer that you didn't bring up that was really upsetting, and that was Elzinga to Oklahoma.
Okay.
Our punter.
Yeah.
He was legit. Ball control game and big games, man. Elzinga was our guy. But we brought in Walrath from Tarleton State.
I've got so much faith in Bird just moving the offense that we don't need a punter. So that's why I didn't mention it.
That's why he transferred to Oklahoma. He wanted to stay at CMU, but he was like, they're not going to have to punt that much next year. So
I want the PT.
I better move on.
Yeah.
Better slum it over in Oklahoma.
Slum it out over here.
It's like Madden or NCAA 14. You always go for it. It don't matter.
Exactly.
You go for
it. There was only a couple things I had here. You obviously hit on a lot of the big ones, man. I mean, the loss of Incombe was tough. Dante Kent is legit. You could see him being a second day pick in 2025 draft. I mean, the kid's got skills, man. Trey Jones is also coming back at safety.
Yeah.
He had 85 tackles a year ago. Obviously, we're losing Elzinga, but we'll try and get past that. And I was just, one stat that I thought was really interesting was just, they got to get better in the second quarter where they got outscored 108-52.
Yeah.
Throughout the year last year in the second quarter, which I thought was crazy. And obviously turnovers where they lost 18 fumbles and only recovered 6. So turnovers are obviously always going to be huge. I predicted them at 7-5. I do have them losing at MSU. And I thought that was interesting that you saw that as the bellwether, because I almost feel like the real one is 2 weeks after that at Notre Dame. I feel like that's more of show what you got, because MSU, we have no idea, what's coming out of East Lansing this year. And I guess you really don't with Notre Dame, but I think there's more gravity to it. And then they got to travel to South Alabama the week after, which is going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
But
while I agree with you on the Notre Dame thing, I'm taking it from just personal experience. Last year when we went to Penn State, first half looked awesome. I think we were down 7 points at half.
Yeah, man.
And then in the third quarter, we had this touchdown to tie the game up halfway through, and there was a phantom pass interference call. Like it was almost like the Dallas Cowboys against the Lions, where they picked up the flag. It was that bad of a call in the playoff game. Sorry to bring up bad memories there, but
yeah, I almost left the podcast right then.
But
I need to go cry for a while. It's all right.
But when we left that Penn State game, we're like, oh, we're gonna win the MAC. This Penn State team is a great Penn State team. I think their only losses were to Michigan and Ohio State last year. So it's if CMU can go 3 quarters with them, we could easily go 4 quarters with anyone else, and then we got destroyed by Toledo. So that's why I look at it as like whoever we open up with against Michigan State, if we give them a great game and they can carry that momentum going into New Hampshire and then carry that into Notre Dame, I think we'll be fine.
So they play well against MSU, okay? Then they spank New Hampshire. You got them rolling into South Bend with big thoughts on their mind, or what,
We're
man?
shocking the world.
Yeah, baby.
I'll say it publicly so Notre Dame can get their police force ready. CMU shocks the world. I'm storming the field.
It's just you.
I don't care. I will
storming the
field. It's just me. Hey, I'll promote my podcast that way.
Oh, there you go.
Behind me, I'll have a banner with you guys too.
That's the game. Marcus Freeman gets fired.
Yeah.
I'll do the podcast on the cheeks.
Yeah, I'll do a Baker Mayfield with the flag and put it right at the.
Oh yeah, there you go.
With Great Lakes Gridiron, I'll do that.
Nice, but yeah, I had him at 7-5. So,
mine, I still haven't changed. I'm still at 7-5. I think they'll have a winning record. I said it the first time we talked about this. I don't know what my obsession with Buffalo is, but every team that we talked about, I said they were losing to Buffalo, and I don't know why.
They're a dark horse too. They're really good. They that coaching staff is awesome. They've got a great recruiting class coming in, great transfer class coming in too. I mean, that's the one thing I will say why CMU wins that game is because it's in Buffalo in October. If it was in November, where you got that Lake Erie lake effect coming off and it's freezing and all that, and it's a action game, they probably lose that. But because it's October 4th, I believe it is, Saturday after Easter, they're going to win that game.
I got them winning that game too, man. Coming off a tough loss to EMU. I think that, that just EMU's just, it just feels like their year.
Yeah.
But I got them winning at Buffalo, I think, just coming off of a tough week.
Yeah.
I like that too. I like that as a win also. Although Bill has Buffalo undefeated.
No, I don't have Buffalo.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. It is definitely tough there to play. It is. I mean, it's like the Buffalo, like the Buffalo Bills. It's tough there to play in the wintertime or any game in November. So that's why it depended on the scheduling of when that game came out. And so being October 4th, it still should be 60 and overcast there instead of 40 and overcast and windy. Right.
So with that said, with your back to the wall, where do they finish this year?
Best case scenario, worst case scenario?
Best case scenario. We know. I think we know where worst case scenario goes.
I think worst case scenario, honestly, is 6-6. But best case scenario is 9-3.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Best
Can't
case
say I wouldn't
scenario.
hit that.
Best case scenario is 9-3.
They beat Michigan State. They beat Michigan State in best case scenario. They open up the season, win the next game, get killed by Notre Dame. Actually drop the road game to South Alabama, but come back home, beat Eastern, win out until Toledo and lose to Toledo.
Wow.
I liked it at first.
Okay, so yes, that is your best case scenario.
That's the best case scenario, and we unfortunately probably don't make the MAC championship game even at 9-3 because Toledo might lose to Eastern, but they'll have the tiebreaker over
Toledo.
CMU. So
I think NIU is a sneaky tough game this year with guys getting healthy.
Yeah, and it depends on Rocky Lombardi coming back for his 7th season. By the way, guys, like
he's still.
Yep.
He's still playing. Huh?
Yep, because he got a medical red shirt last year. He
Uh-huh.
played the first 2 games and got injured in the second game, got a medical red shirt. And NIU definitely, I think it's on our fourth episode that we have recorded. I said that they're the most intriguing team because they can either go 3-9 or they can go 9-3, and it depends on their offense. But I will say though that if you guys want like two sports bets locks, take the Toledo over 8.5. They could easily go undefeated. Their only like game that they're not favored in is gonna be Illinois week 1, and they could beat Illinois.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then CMU over 5.5 because again, Jim McElwain's never had back-to-back losing seasons. So if you want to make some money that way,
Stone Cold Locks.
Stone Cold Locks.
Stone Cold.
Let me just
They
correct
had
it.
Toledo.
Yeah,
So they had Toledo at 8.5.
Yeah,
Really?
dude, they're
Yeah.
good, dude.
It's
Man.
yeah. So,
Okay.
but yeah, 6-6 worst, 9-3 at best.
So your realistic expectation would probably be 7-5.
7-5,
8-4.
8-4. Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah.
That's
They
fair.
lose 3 of the first. They lose 3 of the first 4, and I think they either win one of these 3. They either beat South Alabama, Michigan State, or Eastern. They win one of those 3. Dean, which one do you want?
South
Michigan
Alabama.
State? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or Notre Dame. Yeah, either one.
Yeah,
or
or Notre Dame. That'd be
Dame.
fine
Oh,
too. Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
that would be
so-
very, very sweet.
So if we've rounded up the predictions, I did have something that Justin, you've talked to me about before that I wanted you to bring up here because I always thought it was a really interesting idea. Was the like English Soccer League promotion system and potentially incorporate that with college football.
And
I like that.
and I really wanted to talk about that on our podcast, and we might do it. I think we got away from it in our second episode because we just ran it like we're just talking about transfers, all that. But I think what should happen is you should have the top 2 teams or top 1 team from the G5 and you move it up to the Power 5. I don't think it works anymore because the Pac-12 is dead now, but you could still maybe do, the MAC is tied with the Big Ten geographically, right? And then you have the Sun Belt tied with the SEC. And then what it would have been was Mountain West tied with the Pac-12, et cetera, and Conference USA tied with the Big 12.
Or ACC, yeah.
Or ACC, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you look at it last year. Did Indiana finish? No, Northwestern finished last in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So you would have Toledo replace Northwestern, and then they would play in the West. Or you could, they'd have to play in the West, but then they would play in the Big Ten for a year. And if they go 0-12, 1-11, they move back down to the MAC, and then Northwestern moves back up, or whoever wins. And I like that because you've got teams in other conferences like Vanderbilt who are just there, as either a GPA booster or other sports, who they don't care about football. Like if you truly look at the MAC, there's outside like Toledo, everyone is all pretty much on the same even playing field. Outside like Kent State and Akron, but they're coming up too. They've got 2 great coaches that are going to get their team up. So the MAC in 2-3 years could have 8 teams go 6-6, and you don't have that in a lot of conferences, and that's why I wish there was an implementation like that. That way it holds the Rutgers and Northwesterns accountable, the Vanderbilts, and who else is bad in the SEC? I can't even think right now, but like it holds these teams accountable, and it's not like you fire your. And it also what it does is it makes these home games too more important. It makes these later in season games way more important. Northwestern being 1-10 playing at hosting Nebraska or whatever. If they're 3-9 and 1-10, that doesn't right now they don't care. But if it means they go to the MAC, they will care because they're going to lose that money. Yeah.
They were relegated to the MAC.
Yeah, and also I think it would be cool for college football as a whole if, let's say, you have, Michigan. Let's say Michigan has a down year 1 year, okay, and they get relegated to the MAC. I think it would be awesome if Michigan played on Tuesday night. A MAC and Michigan game. Like it's just something unique.
It would be. It's a cool thought.
It is. It'll never happen. It'll never happen.
No, I mean they wouldn't finish last anyway.
No, but like Nebraska. Imagine if Nebraska finished last. I think they did finish last. What, 2 years ago when they went 3-9?
Yeah,
they were the best 3-9 team in the country. You're 3-9.
Right.
Okay, you are what your record is. But
Right.
Imagine if they were at the MAC playing MACtion games on a Tuesday night and they got 80,000 in Lincoln for CMU Nebraska. That'd be just an amazing sight.
that'd be super cool for the MAC championship.
Yeah, for the MAC championship.
I mean, how wild would that be?
That would be. We'd be seeing Michigan State in the MAC maybe next year.
Hey, Western, Eastern, Central. I would love that.
Coming to the MAC.
And they would have, you know what? They would have to go to Western, Eastern, or Central. They can't avoid them.
Right. Yeah.
That's true.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
You got my vote. That'd be awesome. So, all right. I think we're gonna keep you on, and we're gonna do some would you rather's.
Okay.
If you're up for it.
I am, and I've actually got one for you guys.
Oh,
okay.
Here we go. All right.
I've got one sports one and one like real life one.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Or do you want to go last?
It's up to you guys.
Let me kick one off here because this is MAC connected, kind of.
Okay. All right.
All right, since we just got loose on that.
I
now that
got
we're loose.
I got a little Mac one too.
Oh, nice. So, all right. Let me just go here. Would you rather have a career where, I mean, come on. If you're getting hot, you're not just sick, you're catching a Lefevre. So, would you rather have a career like Dan Lefevre, who's obviously a CMU legend, set the TD record for a quarterback, got a look in the NFL but never materialized, or a career like Matt Castle, who backed up Carson Palmer at USC, but he ended up spending 14 years in the league, started a couple of years. So you got your shot in the NFL, but you backed up all through college. And obviously the allure of Lefevre's career is that you're a legend at your school, that conference, that kind of thing.
So before we all jump into this, are we talking about in today's age or back in Lefevre's age? Because I'm thinking about it as like money.
Yeah, I mean, that was around the same time.
Well, I'm thinking about NIL money wise. That's why I'm saying
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Today's age, I mean, Lefevre could have cashed in.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Lefevre in today's age.
But I mean, just in general.
You don't think? Hold on. You don't? Think
I mean,
Lefevre
obviously you can
stays at
consider.
Central?
What?
You don't think Lefevre stays at Central?
No, I think he still gets paid. That's the thing is Matt Castle got paid in the NFL. Like that money that Matt Castle got is, generational money compared to what Dan Lefevre got, which is probably nothing, unfortunately.
Right. Oh,
so
yeah.
So that's why I was asking if it's in today's age, you go Lefevre because he's going to be making millions or at least he's going to be making a couple mil. He'll be fine financially. I think
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I think
it's MAC money,
Tens of hundreds.
Free conies at Pixie for life.
Yeah, free conies.
Oh, yeah.
We'll hook you
You
up
get your name on the wall. I mean, it's all good.
Free cover at Wayside.
Yeah.
That
Wayside NIL deal.
Unlimited cabin sticks. Cabin. So unfortunately I would say I'd have to go Matt Castle just for the money's sake, just because he made 14 years at the NFL. I don't know what the average backup salary is, but isn't who's the one that was the former Lions backup that's literally made Chase Daniels that literally has made 60 million just being a backup.
Yeah.
Like that's unfortunately I'd do a lot of stuff for $60 million. So it's
we know.
Yeah. So that's why I would probably choose the Matt Castle one. But if it was in today's age, I'd go Dan Lefevre.
Even though you probably still made less money overall.
Yeah, but as long as I made, if
Yeah.
I made at least $2-3 million, but I'm a campus legend, I'm taking the 2-3 million over the 60 because I'm 2-3 million. You're still set. So.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Maybe.
Dean, he made a little bit of money in the NFL. I mean, he was there for a year.
He
too,
caught
right?
a couple bucks, made a few dollars in the CFL. I mean,
yeah,
that's true. Did go to CFL. That is tough. Yeah, I mean, I guess for the same reasons, I'd probably go the Matt Castle route as well. I mean, he ended up getting paid starter money after he covered for Tom that one season. They went to the playoffs.
Yeah,
then he
traded to
cashed
KC
in.
and
And then he played okay for a few. I mean, he wasn't a terrible quarterback, but I mean, he wasn't. I'm sure as a Kansas City fan, I'm sure people thought they probably said things differently, like we would about John Kitna. But that's a whole. But yeah, I'd probably do it for the money wise, but yeah, I'd just do it for the money.
Yeah.
So if money's not
money
involved,
grab.
it's easily the other way for you guys.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah, I mean,
If the money isn't a factor.
14-year
career in the NFL.
I was gonna say getting to play in the NFL would be.
Well, I mean, didn't Dan? I mean, he
did. Yeah, I mean, he got it.
It's not the same. Justin.
I think he played for the Bears in a regular season game. I think. Maybe.
I think I'd still rather be Dan Lefevre if money wasn't an issue. Just because you can always look at your kids and be like, hey, would you rather look at your kids and say, look at what I did in college, I was a legend, or would you rather be Matt Castle and be like, yeah?
I feel like
I say that to them now.
Tom Brady and won 3 Super Bowls is what I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, and an issue.
And I didn't have to lift a finger.
Was that they win a national championship?
No, because he was behind Carson Palmer. I was about to say he did, but he just missed that boat.
Could you imagine winning all your championships as the backup in college?
I mean, is Brian Hoyer the greatest backup quarterback of all time?
I'd say so.
Yeah.
I would say
Chad
yes
Henne?
immediately.
Hey, Chad Henne right now.
Chad Henne. Oh, of course you guys say
to
Chad Henne.
Hey, Michigan quarterbacks have more Super Bowls than any other college. That's all I'm saying.
As starters?
I mean,
or just in general?
Because of Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, Chad Henne.
Don't forget Henne now.
Don't forget Chad.
He backed up Mahomes. He's there.
For me, listen. I'm not saying if I'm a college kid and you take me to Southern California and then you take me to Mount Pleasant. I'm not saying the Mount Pleasant ladies are ugly by any means, but you're in SoCal. SoCal.
Okay.
Mount Pleasant. I mean, dude, and you don't have to play in a blizzard. You're playing in nice weather all the time.
How about
unless you're playing?
How about
he didn't
Eddie
play.
Eddie, how about I give you a better quarterback for this? Okay, what about Nathan Peterman?
I thought about Peterman.
What about Peterman?
That might be better.
That's not Southern Cal, and he all that. So, and he's probably the worst backup in the league. So,
and he's still around.
Yeah,
Lefevre.
Then it's Dan Lefevre. Yeah,
but Peterman's made a lot more money.
It don't matter.
Oh, now the money doesn't matter.
It didn't matter before.
Nobody wants to be Nathan Peterman.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to agree with Bill. SoCal versus Mount Pleasant, but then you've got Pittsburgh versus Mount Pleasant. I think I'll choose Wayside. I think I'm going with O'Kelly's on that one.
Oh no, Pittsburgh's a good time.
I feel like Pittsburgh's more of a city, though. I mean, it is a city, but I was gonna say, like, as a college, I don't know if I'd want to go to college in a city compared to a college town. That's just me.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, Eddie, I like it. What would you have picked for yourself?
I don't know. I thought Castle, but all you Castle riders, I thinking I might have to go Lefevre just to be on the other side of that, and to be a legend, a Chips legend. I mean, that'd be pretty sweet. And he made money.
It would be sweet. Yeah.
If you weren't dumb, like he obviously knew he, at least after his first year out of college, like, all right, I'm not going to do what I just did in the MAC, right, out here in the NFL. So like maybe he was squaring some dollars away because you still make some cash. Played a few years in the CFL, and you always have like the records that you set while you were there.
And think about his biography. He can say that he threw a completed pass to J.J. Watt and Antonio Brown the same game. I mean, who else can say that?
That's pretty sick.
Nobody.
I mean, literally no one, because J.J. Watt
is true.
Tight end, so
yeah,
that's wild to think about.
All right, so my MAC one. Would you rather sit through a whole game in the student section at Waldo, where they're just destroying CMU, and you have all your CMU gear on, or you have a whole Central Western game at Kelly Short Stadium, where CMU beats Western because you had to take a dump, and there was no toilet paper or paper towel, and no one would get it to you until after the game. So you're in the toilet the whole game.
Doing whatever it takes for CMU to win. It's simple as that. I'm doing whatever it takes.
If I have to miss it on the toilet, then so be it.
Yeah, I'm doing whatever it takes for CMU to win. I don't care.
He's just in the bathroom. Like, go.
Yeah. Go. I'm watching it on my phone. I'm like this on the toilet right here.
No, right, there's no phone. There's no phone on you.
No phone.
If I know CMU wins, I don't care.
That's fair.
I'd do anything for my teams to win. So
anything.
Well, depends on the team, and depends on what they win.
The Hawks win a mid-season game.
Nah, I don't care.
At Orlando.
Nah, I don't care. No,
you'll do whatever it takes for the Hawks to get their 37th win of the season.
Hey, they'll be 20 more than the Pistons.
All right. Hey, we're cutting this out.
Eddie, what do you
Come
do?
on, man. Well, I mean, in one scenario, I'm in the student section and my team's losing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just taking, I'll just sit on the crapper, man, and let CMU win.
That's fair.
Yeah, I got to take shit the whole time from Western fans, and I'm in their section, and we lose. Or I can sit in the toilet at Kelly Shorts and we win the game.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Well,
do you know how much fun it's going to be?
I don't know if a 3-hour crap is enjoying myself with no phone or anything.
Yeah. But you'll enjoy yourself after the game. That's the thing. Is you're going to enjoy yourself after the game when that wall. It's going to be amazing.
That's true. That's true.
Are you, dude? Your legs are gonna be numb. How much are you gonna enjoy yourself? You're like falling over yourself in the bathroom.
Now the question is can I bring beer in the bathroom while this is going on?
I mean, essentially, you're stuck there. No one can get you anything because.
Well, what if I snuck it in myself?
Well, then yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But you don't know.
So you were thinking about getting stuck in the bathroom.
No.
You just walk into Kelly Shorts and it's not even kickoff. You're like, hey guys, I just get the restroom real quick before the game gets going.
6 beers.
Good thing I brought a 6-pack in my sweatshirt, I guess.
Those were initially
because now I'm just sitting here for 3.5 hours.
Those were initially to be enjoyed in the student section, but if I have to enjoy them on the toilet, so be it.
To win, yeah.
What about you, Dean? Would you do it for your decked out in Michigan State stuff in the Ann Arbor student section, or would you rather, MSU
Let
beat
them
Michigan?
win and
Yeah.
but be taking. I mean, I think the obvious choice is just take the dump. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit in the student section and watch them lose, and we're all just depressed, and then the camera pans to you, and you're just like, then I'm
Wait,
on the
you got
ESPN.
Yeah,
top
Surrender
10.
Cobra.
Yeah,
Surrender
exactly.
Cobras.
I'll just go be alone in the bathroom for 3 hours,
Oh man.
knocking on the stall next to me, like, "Hey, who's winning, man? Like, pass me some TP." And he's like, "No, go fuck it." So yeah, I think you just take one and just take the dump.
Perfect. Justin, what do you got?
So I've got a sports one I'll start with first, and it's not MAC related. I'll go Michigan sports here. It's kind of it's Tigers versus another team. Would you rather have the Tigers' history of the past 40, 50 years? You had that, you won in 86, won in 68, but you had the great, 06 Tigers team, 14, all that.
Mhm.
Or would you rather have the Miami Marlins history of where they won in 97 and 2003, but have been absolutely terrible every other year they've existed?
So, okay, I'll start. So for me, I guess if you take the bias away, I think I'd still take the Tigers history. Only because I'm living through what Miami has been.
With the line.
Well, no, the Tigers. I mean, the
Oh,
Tigers,
wow.
right? They haven't been good in almost 10 years now, it seems like. So, the only thing that catches me off guard is I wasn't alive for those.
That's
right.
why I asked that, because it's like, do you get to enjoy your 2 World Series, or you just get all of this history and Hall of Fame players, all that?
Man, it's been a fun ride being a Tigers fan. I know it sucks that they didn't win it when they could have. But man,
you got to give up Mr. Tiger.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Yeah. No, I think I stay with the Tigers history.
Okay. Dean?
I'm selfish. I'm gonna take the Marlins.
You're taking the Marlins?
Yeah. So I can see some World Series wins. I can't say how pumped I was. Like, we all watched the Pistons win the championship 2004. That was awesome. I wish I was a bigger, I loved the Wings win in the later 2000s. I watched a ton of Wings in the 90s, but I don't know if I appreciated it. Because it just, when you're that age and it was happening, that's like, oh, that's just what they do. And watching Michigan State win that national championship in 2000, that was awesome. So it's like, getting to see those championships is tough to pass on.
Being a Braves fan, seeing that 2021 World Series championship, I mean, unfortunately, it's in a sport that, it's the least popular sport in America now is baseball, unfortunately, but still count it. And watching that, it was, nothing will take that away. I remember yesterday, I was watching against the Astros. I was the only one up in my house that final out, and I fell to my knees. I was like, is this real life? Like, my team's a champion. It's my first ever title I saw as a first ever Atlanta title in my lifetime. So
I mean, it's special, man.
So I think I'd take the Marlins just because of that euphoria, and they can never take that memory away.
No doubt. Especially how it went down, Pudge with the ball and freaking, getting that big tag at home plate. I mean, that was some pretty awesome stuff, dude. Yeah, dude. I mean, that was pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I love the Tigers' history and everything we've gotten to witness. I mean, we've seen some real special seasons.
Do you remember that euphoria when Maglio hit the home run? You know what I mean? It's like,
that's what makes me pick the Marlins.
Because if that was a World Series home run, imagine how even sweeter it would
have been. Yeah, dude. I was legitimately screaming when Mags hit that home run.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
I mean,
not to make fun of Detroit sports, but imagine the euphoria you'll have when the Lions win a playoff game, right? That's just a playoff game. So imagine that if
that's not enough for me, man.
But I'm saying, imagine the next step to to a title, like what euphoria you would be going through.
Oh man.
I mean, we remember Pistons winning.
Pistons,
I mean, that was. Oh man,
awesome.
It's tough to beat.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
tough to beat.
So
yeah,
Dean.
Yeah,
you take the Marlins.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to be the popular choice. I didn't think the Marlins would be the popular choice. I thought the history would be enough. But no, I agree. I mean, it'd be like I'd think of it as like if it was like the Lions. Like, would I want to see the Lions win 2 Super Bowls, or would I want to keep the Red Wings history? Like, just to revert that question or whatever. I love the Red Wings, but I would take those 2 Lions Super Bowls. Sorry, Stevie Y, but I'm trying to see these things for myself. Given I was alive for those, but I was young, so it was I didn't care about hockey.
Now he's never going to watch the pod again.
Thanks a lot, Stevie Y was a big fan of the show.
He's still my captain.
Hey, I didn't say it. If you like MAC football, come to the Great Lakes Gridiron, okay?
Fair enough.
You want me to go on my next one, or this one's more fun? So, would you rather never to be able to bend your elbows, or never to be able to bend your knees?
Oh.
I forgot he brought this up earlier today, and it completely left my mind.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Elbows or knees?
I mean, imagine trying to eat food like.
I'm not worried about eating. Worry about something. Worry about something else I do in my spare time.
I'm gonna go with not bending my knees because they don't bend that often as it is. They strain under any duress as it goes. So I need these bows to keep me going, man.
I'm gonna go with knees as well. Like you said, I don't know how you eat. You have to eat on the floor. I don't know.
You have to
your arms are always out.
Yeah.
Oh my god. No, I'm good. I can
you can't sit right now, or you'd have to have your legs straight out right now, like that.
Yeah, but you can still do it.
True.
You know what I mean? Like every time I have to type on my laptop.
It'd be really tough to take that 3-hour dump though at Kelly Shorts.
Yeah. With
you just got your legs straight up.
Oh.
So he's like, "Is anybody in there? I don't see any shoes." Like, yes, I'm in here.
I'm in the straddle position. It creates better flow, man. Don't worry about it. Get the hell out of here.
You walk out of the bathroom.
We're trying to win,
That's awesome, Eddie.
No, I said, I'll definitely go straight-legged.
Yeah, I think it'd be easier to walk around with straight legs than it would be to have to do everything.
Well, I feel like you've seen it, right? People with leg casts or
Forrest Gump, and eventually they just run out of those braces.
Yeah.
There you go.
Justin? What did you decide?
I'd probably do straight legs too. Unfortunately, I don't want it to be a clean sweep. It's tough though. Imagine trying to drive your arms out here though, and you can't bend. You literally just have to.
Yeah.
His
everyday tasks would be way too difficult.
Yeah.
With straight arms.
It would be. That's
sure. Plus other things.
Dean's everyday tasks are not everybody else's everyday tasks.
I just can't.
Okay. So I got a couple more here real quick. Would you rather take a golf thrown football from 5 yards to the body blindfolded, or get trucked by Panay Sewell blindfolded.
Oh.
Am I wearing pads?
No.
Oh.
You said Goff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so.
Yeah, but I also said from 5 yards out, he's pretty accurate at 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
you can
give it.
stop your-
I think
stop your
10's the
heart.
sweet spot because you'll get all the velocity behind it, and he's still accurate.
I thought about 10.
Yeah, or 7.5.
Yeah. Okay. 7.5.
I think I would go with the golf ball or the golf throw because Panay Sewell would kill me. That legit would kill me.
He
Like-
would demolish.
Like I legit would have I probably would get a broken rib or whatever with the throw, but I would die. So from the other one.
So I know this
Yeah,
hit's
especially
coming,
no
right?
pads.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do, but you're blindfolded.
Well, yeah,
so
you're
don't-
blindfolded. You know it's
Oh.
coming. Oh, I'll take
But
the
you don't
hit
know
because
when
I'm
it's
gonna
coming,
put my
though,
shoulder
right?
down, baby.
He ain't gonna plant me.
Not today,
He's gonna
Panay.
be surprised when I stand him up.
But the thing is since you're blindfolded, he'll know where you're bending your shoulder. He'll just go the other way.
You think he can adapt to my quickness?
But
Doubt
you don't
it.
know. He can just
It's all
stop.
about leverage, baby.
See, I'm taking the throw, and I'm just gonna be like this, like protect my head, like fetal position. all
Oh
the
no,
time,
hands
like-
to your sides.
You just got to run
You got
a
an
route.
Antonio McDice
I'm gonna run
And
around.
Yeah. You gotta run. Dude, do a hook and ladder.
Run a
There's a
5 yard
better
in.
Run a post.
There's a better chance he misses that throw than Panay Sewell not hitting me.
So true.
Because Sewell is killing me.
It's hard not to take the Goff throw
Absolutely.
in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dean?
How far of a head start does Sewell have? Does he also have like a 10-yard head start?
Yeah, is it
Oh.
off the
Is it
line?
like
'Cause
a-
if it's off the line, I might be able to survive.
Like, it's gonna hurt.
Stance, then he just kind
What's
of
it? Just 5 yards.
hucks you a little bit.
Oh, 5 yard, I'm dead.
He's getting a 5-yard head
Yeah,
start
5 yards,
before he
that's too much.
crushes me.
That's too much
Yeah,
for
that's too
Sewell,
much.
man.
Oh, I'm dead.
You
It's
see
a
what he
3-point
does to
stance
defensive
and I hit.
linemen
That's-
half of a yard away?
Yeah. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
he does it to people that are 6'5", 330, and you can't teach that. And he
Yeah,
still does
you
it,
can't.
and he still does it to them.
Okay, next one. Dean, did you answer that? I'm sorry.
I think it's the golf throw. Yeah.
Okay.
Just
All
take that to the chest. Call,
All right.
call it a day.
So these last two, they suck. So would you rather get a hard nip pinch for 2 times an hour for 3 days?
2 times an
Straight.
hour for 3 days? So 24
days.
hours?
Yes.
So you're getting woken up in the night like twice? Just somebody just freaking
Yeah.
pinching your nips, bro? Oh,
Yep.
all right.
Or
Oh, all right.
too hard.
I do that to
hard
myself
sack-
already.
or 2 hard sack taps 2 times a day for 7 days.
2 times a day?
Yep.
And it's just
for 7
random?
days. It could be while you're sleeping.
Look, I'm doing the 7 days because I need my sleep. Like I can't wake up every hour on the hour.
Twice an hour. That was, how hard is the nut tap? Was it like real
It's
hard?
a hard sack tap. It's
Like a every
Yeah.
time it happens.
Yeah.
Oh,
only
man.
2 times a day though, but it's for 7 days.
That
instead of
feeling in
3.
the bottom of your stomach.
Yeah.
compared to two twists every 2 twists
Every hour.
That's 48
For
times
how
a day.
long?
3 days.
3 days.
The problem with that
Does
is
it count
who's
if I
gonna-
twist my own or no?
No.
That's
Who's going to take care of the problem in my pants though? If we're doing that 2 times an hour.
That's 144 twists in 3 days.
Oh man.
144 compared to just 14. I'm taking the
Yeah.
14.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
take
I'm not proud.
sack tap.
I mean, listen to Rain Man over here with his 144.
Where do you get these numbers? I mean, I guess it's 2 times whatever.
Simple
I
math.
think I did it wrong, right?
Yes.
Did I do the math wrong? I probably did the math wrong. Oh well.
It's 48 times
I got 1,300 times 799.
Yeah, I did the math. No. If I did it. No, I did it right. 144. Yeah. Yeah, I'm taking the 14 now.
Taking the 14 shots.
Yeah.
I'm taking the twist.
Wow.
Eventually, you just become numb to it, dude. You never.
Do you? It's only twice an hour. What if they're like,
dude? Eventually, it just becomes.
They just alternate. Nips.
Are you basing this off of experience?
Like, you can't leave. You can't.
It was a wild 24 hours in Tijuana, my man.
I'm hoping I just sleep through it.
But you're not gonna be able to. Like,
after the
you
second
sleep
day,
through it.
So raw.
Your nipples are gonna hurt so bad.
Oh.
You're just gonna have to have a guy ride with you during work just to pinch your nipples.
I mean, they're
stop,
both.
you go through, hey man, could you just pinch me real quick?
Yeah.
Give me a couple
I guess based on volume, I got to go with the nut shots, but I don't love it. I mean,
no.
Yeah.
Especially since it's anytime. You know, we'd be in the middle of a work thing, and I get some guy comes in like, hey,
hey, it's time.
Or even the nips. He's like, pull your shirt up.
I'll walk by your cubicle first time.
This hour, my man. I still got another one coming.
Okay. Dean, what did you go with?
Nut tap.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. Last one. This one sucks. This one's gross. Would you rather have to eat a whole plate of food where you discover 8 to 10 hairs of varying shapes and sizes, or you have to drink a bowl of the leftover cereal milk from some random person you don't know?
Oh,
that's messed up.
Oh.
How old's the milk?
What kind of cereal?
Am I naked?
Is somebody pinching my nipples twice an hour?
Hear me out. That spoon consistently goes into the milk.
Yeah.
Understood.
How old's the milk?
It can be.
Is it spoiled milk or is it fresh milk?
No,
like,
no. It's not.
I just got done eating it and they're like, hey, you want this?
I'm taking this.
I mean,
that hair, I don't know where that hair's been. Like,
man.
Well, you know where that hair's been.
It could be 8 different hairs. Like, no, thank you.
They're all curly. Trust me.
There's not a straight hair in the bunch.
There's not a straight hair in the bunch, my man.
Is that a gray hair?
Yeah, you got a red hair, gray hair. You got it all.
You get the old.
I mean, I gotta go milk. Because you just chug it fast. You got to eat an entree with 8 to 10 hairs.
What's the entree? Is it like a steak and there's just like 8 hairs sitting on top of it?
I didn't think about the entree, but I mean, it could be anything.
See, that's the thing is, I don't like
cereal. Or is it like a pasta?
Yeah, I don't like cereal already, so I might as well just get that over with. I don't want to get steak ruined for me forever. Because that's what that would do.
That's fair.
I've got a sports one. I just thought of it right here.
Okay.
Would you guys rather have your biggest sports rival win a title every 10 years, but you get to beat them 8 out of 10 years, but you don't win a title? Or would you rather win a title every 30 years, but your rival beat you 25 out of those 30 years?
Are they winning titles during this time?
No.
I'll drink the cereal milk.
Sorry.
Once
The
every
vote.
30?
Yeah.
Dude, that's at
Ugh.
most two championships I see.
Yeah, I ain't seeing 3.
This,
You
this,
And you got to
this
watch
body ain't making it to the
probably 50 losses against your rival.
So at a you'd see Michigan beat Michigan State 50 times. Bill, you'd see Ohio State beat Michigan 50 times.
And what's the other one?
Or you win, or they win a title every 10 years, but you beat them every 8 out of 10 years.
But
That's
we
kind of
never
like
win.
Michigan.
Or you
Oh,
never
wait,
win a
no, they
title.
don't win.
That's a tough one.
I'll take the rivalry wins. They can get
Do
their
the 8.
they get their title once every
Do the
decade.
8 out of 10.
But we're still winning. So like at least you have something to come back on them.
Yeah.
Right, because they'll be like, "Oh, we're winning the title," and you'd be like, "Well, we win
We
every
beat
time
you.
almost."
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? We beat you. De facto, we won the national title.
yeah. Ipso facto, we're champs.
Yeah. We're the champions.
Give them the UCF.
We went 1-11
national
that
title
year.
ring.
Is-
Hey, go
Yeah.
Cows.
Yeah, you're
Give
not
them the
wrong.
UCF ring.
You're not wrong.
Man, I think knowing Buckeye fans, I think I'd take the wins. I mean, it's brutal.
I'd say if I asked Bill before COVID, he'd probably take the national titles with how much Ohio State was dominating. But
I don't know. I mean, man, you read any comment board and it's just like, well, it's not really even a rivalry. And they're winning national titles. It's like, like sweet. So,
Yeah, I would take the rival wins as well.
I got
For
one
sure.
here. You can cut this out if you want, but
okay.
I didn't just come up with this. Would you rather go through like a normal weekday, like you go to work, interact with your boss, your coworkers, friends, in-laws, significant other, but you have to use a baby voice all day? Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. So like
Whatever your personal baby voice.
yeah, but your whole day that day is you having to use a baby voice, no explanation. You just gotta roll with it.
Okay.
Or I'm gone for 2 weeks at a buffet.
yeah. Or you let your wife go on a vacation with Matt Rife. Or spend a day. This is also a day. Now you're by yourself, so it's not necessarily people you know, but you spend a day walking through Disney World by yourself in short shorts and a shirt that says in big bold letters, "I think your kid is hot." No explanations. If people confront you, you just got to wink at them and move on.
So in other words, you're getting kicked out of Disney World.
Maybe. They can't kick you out for that.
Your shirt says your kid is hot.
I think your kid is, it could be anybody. That could be an adult.
That could be anybody's kid.
Yeah, that could be, your in-laws.
It's not necessarily your kid. It's gonna be
your father-in-law's daughter. You think, she's hot.
Yeah.
So you think their kid's hot?
Could be a gift from the father-in-law.
That's true.
But you're by yourself in short shorts, and all you can do is wink at the people who ask you about it. Or you got to spend your whole day in your regular life where you confront everybody, pretty much everybody you know, in work situations in a baby voice.
See, I think I'm going to go Disney. And
because you're a creep.
I'm going to get all the fast passes in the world and just ride the rides the whole time.
There's no rides. You're just walking.
Oh, well. Never mind then.
And
You're just
I'm going-
perusing the
Sit next to the
selection.
kids.
I'm doing the work thing then. I'm doing the work thing then. I'm doing the work thing then.
Perusing the selection. Listening to Window Shopper by 50 Cent.
Little window shop.
You have the BDE podcast going.
I think I'd have to go baby voice as well. I think.
Oh, did he switch to baby voice?
I did, yes.
He switched to baby voice.
You won't let me ride any rides, man, so I got to.
You're just walking? Just walking and talking.
No.
Give a little wink here and there.
Yeah, no thanks.
But people are like, "What the hell, guy?"
I
You
do
read
that-
it.
I do that at work anyway, so.
You read it.
Man.
I'm going Disney, baby.
That's why he thought of it.
Yeah.
I don't, I don't know the people at Disney. I mean, I guess it's possible you go viral, and that would be bad. But other than having to do my baby voice at work, like you got stuff going that day, or whatever else you got going on in your life.
It depends on the day, Eddie.
Yeah,
Depends on the
it
day.
really does.
That's true, too. It really depends on the day.
We got nothing going. I'm doing the baby voice.
I just figured. Well, no, I mean you can't put it that. It's more like everything's going that day. You got to talk to your girlfriend's parents.
It's a busy day. It's a busy
Go over there for dinner or whatever.
The excuse you can use is you've got one of those 2 nut taps from earlier. So
Yeah. I chose 2 nut taps.
day.
I can't even do I don't even know what's a baby voice.
I don't either. I don't.
Has anybody got a good one on tap?
No.
No, but I could.
Let me see. Charlie does it sometimes. Hello, how are you doing today?
Is that a baby voice?
You got to put that in the show preview.
That sounds
The
like
episode preview.
familiar.
Hello.
Whoa.
That's
That's
gotta be
what I'll
the,
get.
it's gotta be the BDE welcome thing every time. Hello, welcome to the BDE.
That's awesome. All right. Well, with that said, I think that will do it for tonight's episode. And Justin, man, thanks again for coming on. It's a lot of fun to have you on. If you wanna, Jason Page, I'll cut this, but
Or will he?
yeah, or will I? Yeah,
like our first episode, nothing was cut.
Yeah. Let me restart that real quick. Okay. So with that said, I think that we're going to call that a night for tonight's episode. Justin, appreciate you having you on. A lot of info. If you are interested in the Mac or just listening to Justin talk, the Great Lakes Gridiron Podcast with him and Connor and Benji, and they are on Spotify and soon to be on YouTube. So Apple Podcast.
Apple, yeah.
Yep. Justin, you have anything to say before you get out of here?
Nothing. I had a great time. You guys are awesome. Love listening to you guys. Listen to you guys every week. I haven't finished the Michigan preview one yet. I'm going to. I know I'm slacking a little bit, but
What a guy.
I know. I'm going to. I tell Eddie I listen to every single
Taking
one of theirs.
responsibility.
What a good guy, man.
I see Eddie
Yeah.
at work, and I bring up the podcast at each episode all the time. So I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a blast. We're gonna get you guys on soon. So talk about what your guys' prediction for CMU is before the season starts. Eddie and I will figure that out. And next, if we have one later in the season, right before Maction, I'll make sure to get Benji and Connor on. And yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
See,
a lot of fun, guys.
We were talking about maybe bringing you on because he's a big Falcons guy for the Lions Falcons preview week.
Yes.
And I heard you say on your other podcast, the Lions will be 0-3 after that. So he's going full heel
Absolutely.
on our show for when it comes to NFL.
Same old
He's
Lions.
a friend of the Mac, but an enemy of us right now. So
Hey, same old Lions. Saturdays we can be friends. Sundays we're enemies.
Well, we do appreciate it, and thank you everyone for watching tonight, and we will see you next week. Have a good one.
Sports Talk.